As I've mentioned in the past, I am going to be working on moving my craft room to my basement because I have a little one on the way in February. So that means some big moves and changes in my scrappy life. This picture right here is my current desk setup, and you can see even just in this small picture, there's a lot of stuff. Now, when I look at organization videos and that kind of thing, it doesn't seem like people will tell you the thought process behind the moves and changes that they make. They just talk about the small organization section, like how do I store my dies? But I want to walk you through what my thought process has been throughout this entire journey of trying to move my craft room to the basement. I've made some headway in the last month, but there's still a long way to go. None of the things that are actually in my craft room have moved to the basement yet. A lot of it has been planning and building. I'm a paper girly. I like to draw out my spaces as I'm planning them. And so you can see this is what my basement looks like without furniture and that kind of thing. So the first thing that I did was I measured everything. You can see I even measured the window. I measured the distance from the back wall to the door that's next to it. I measured our sump pump. Everything has a measurement, and I've drawn it so that you can see what we're kind of looking at. In addition, I measured the ceiling because if I'm going to add bookshelves, I need to know how tall those bookshelves are going to be. So moving into this smaller space, I know I need new storage systems in place. And my space is very limited. It's 123 inches by 65 inches, which is not a ton of room. So I have an IKEA close to me, and I know that they are kind of known for their ability to build out small places to have lots of storage. And so that's where I went to look for bookshelves. At the bottom of the IKEA website, so if we go to storage and organization, at the bottom it says IKEA planning tools. And you can choose which system you would like to use. Now I went with Besta because the Kallax is square and I knew that wasn't going to work for everything. Billy was very popular but more expensive than the Besta. So you just use this planner to configure how you want things to lay out. And you open your design. You can email your design to yourself. And this is what I came up with. So within the IKEA software, I was able to determine which bookshelves would work best, how big they are. You can see I put the cabinet measurements here and made sure that I could have space for that sump pump. Now, my idea has changed, and that's okay. That's part of this process, right? That's why you draw it out and you measure twice and all that kind of stuff. So my now new plan is to get rid of the shelf that's on the far left corner and use that space as a desk over the sump pump and with shelves above it that I currently have above my desk. I'll use these shelves right here, and then I'm going to use the 2x3 cubes here as the side of my desk. So you can see underneath this back wall photo, I have the left wall where I've got my 2x3 cubes, I've got my shelves, and my desktop going all the way across. Now, one thing to consider is that I have a sump pump. That is where that X is on that back wall. And we have to be able to maintenance that sump pump. So I don't want to block it off. That's where I came with this foldable leg idea. So this is just going to be a 2x4 with a hinge that I've got from Amazon that will lock it in place when it's up in the upright position. So my desktop on this side will be hinged, and then I'll be able to get some extra storage underneath. Now my original storage did look like this, and it was from Lowe's, and I was thinking about doing that, but then somebody on Facebook was selling those 13 by 13 cube units from Michaels, and I got them at a really good deal. So I'm thinking about doing that instead. Hopefully it works out because I bought a lot of them. I don't have a whole bunch of space for them. I just have this area underneath the desk as an extra storage. The other thing I'm thinking about is what I'm going to use this desk for, how I want to store my tools. So tools, I'm talking about my Cricut, my Silhouette, my Scan and Cut, my Big Shot, my trimmers. How am I going to store that? Well, I've seen other craft rooms have a space underneath the desk where they store those kind of tools. So I'm hoping that there's going to be room underneath this desk on the left wall to put my tools on top of those cube units. We'll see. I've talked about this before. I need to visualize kind of where I'm going to be. The other thing that I'm running into is just space. This and this are really my only options for storage. And if we look at my current craft room situation, I've got a closet full. I've got this rack system that will not work in the new space because of the height. So a lot of this might need to go. I'm hoping a majority of this will actually fit in the bookcases, like I'm just kind of swapping out. And then I've got my 12 by 12 paper. So my plan is to use this system still for my paper. I really like it. And it is going to go on the right-hand wall. So this is a top view of the desk with measurements and that kind of thing. So I've got shelves on the back wall. Those are those Besta bookcases from IKEA. I've got my desk, gonna go the whole 65 inches and no longer have an additional shelf. I'm going to have the open shelf all the way to the wall as well for 65 inches. And I've got my paper tower going to go right here in this corner. Now my desk, I've got a couple options. So this desk here is going to be more of like a workstation for my tools. This desk, this smaller one, it's going to be 44 inches by 24, and this is why it's really important to measure, is going to be where I actually do the majority of my work. So I've got two options. I can put it against the shelves, which is not ideal. If I put it in front of the shelves, then I'd have to crawl under the desk in order to access some of the material that is stored there. If I actually move my desk here, which is kind of what I'm thinking, I'm going to put it right here. Then I have an enclosed space that I can look out into the family room, because our family room is in the basement. I can watch the kids. My back's not turned to them. And it's kind of an enclosed spot. So hopefully I can block it off better for little grabby hands. So the problem that I'm running into is my paper here is 13 inches wide. My desk is 24 plus 4 is going to be 28. And then my desk is 48. That doesn't leave a whole bunch of room for me to walk between my desk and my paper. So this desk configuration is going to be kind of one of the last things that I figure out. Going back to items that I think I can probably get rid of, because that's going to be a big challenge, is to figure out what I can get rid of, that kind of thing. I'm looking at probably getting rid of some of this stuff at the top of this bookshelf, and that's really all I can think of that I could get rid of. And then the stuff at the bottom here that haven't actually been put away and haven't found a home. Those things that haven't found a home yet are probably going to get rehomed because I want to be able to use my space. I also have this rolly cart. I don't know what I'm going to do with this either. That might be sold as well. It all just kind of depends on what my space looks like by the time that I get all my furniture in there. So this is what my space looks like without any furniture in it. And you can see we had to think about adding plugins because as scrapbookers, we have to have our plugins. I also had to replace my window. So this project has been an opportunity for me to get a new window right here. Previously, we had this old nasty slat window, and it was not waterproof. It let all the bugs in, and I can't have that next to my paper. My space needs to be clean, and I need to cover that window too because of the paper. I don't want it to fade. So having a new window is definitely necessary. So in the last week, what I've done is I've added drywall taped and mudded it. That was the first time ever doing that kind of thing. You can see my sump pump here. I have to be able to access this. So that's something that I have to consider as I'm designing my space. I got to the point where I was able to tape, mud, and then also paint that spot. You can kind of see the line going all the way across. And then I added cabinet bases so that I can know when I put my bookshelves up that they're level. And I also got my bookshelves up. So you can see this went from paper to reality in the last 4 months. It's been a lot of work. I've done a lot of it myself. The electrical I had help with, but other than that, and then my bookshelves, I had my friend come over and help me put those together just because she had offered, and it was a fun time to hang out with her. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet with face framing these. They are attached to the wall, and I need to attach my shelves together so that the bookshelves themselves don't bow, but they are connected with screws together as well. So they're connected to the back wall together. And if I wanted to, I probably could screw down to the base, but I'm not too worried about that because the weight of the supplies that are going to go in these shelves is going to be a lot. I'm hoping that this gives me more room and then I can get all of my supplies within these bookshelves and tidy. But you can see there's not much space between this bookshelf and this door frame right here. And between that outlet and that door frame, that's where my tower of paper is going to go. So this is a big project. It's not, I don't know, I want to compare it to Instagram where you get 1 minute of a thing and it looks beautiful by the end of it. No. This is hard work. We have to do a lot. We have to think about a lot to ensure the safety of our home, to be able to access things that are accessible, to replace a window. Who knew that it was going to be so expensive to replace a dang window? It needed to happen. It needed to be an upgrade, but still, man, that kind of thing. So if you've taken on a project like this and you have any advice for me, please list them down in the comments below. I'll keep you guys updated as we get closer. I'm hoping this whole project is done by the end of December. I am due in February, so as I move along in my pregnancy, I know I'm not going to be able to move as fast and do as much. And so I feel like it's getting a little bit of crunch time as we get closer and closer to November. I'm like, oh my goodness, I really got to get moving. So I hope you enjoyed this video and a thought process behind everything that's been going on with the planning of moving my craft room. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.